Hi there. Today we are making vegan pumpkin pie. I don't really remember why I first made this pie. It might have been that we had someone who was vegan coming to dinner, or it may have been that I was just playing around and was curious to see what it was like. But after I made it, my family declared that it was the best pumpkin pie I had ever made.
I can attest, that was the best pumpkin pie.
And it's not like I made bad pumpkin pie before, right? So, you know, maybe it won't be your favorite. It certainly is ours, and it's really quick and easy, so I thought I'd share it with you. It's autumn during this crazy 2020 weird year. Canadians have already had Thanksgiving, but Americans have not yet. And hey, pumpkin pie for Halloween, why not? So we're gonna go ahead and get started first with the crust. Now, the main ingredient in the crust is, these are actually, I will tell you the brand. These are Anna's Ginger Thins, and they're from Sweden, and you can buy them in a lot of grocery stores here in the Vancouver area, as well as I think IKEA carries them. But if you don't have these, that's okay. What you are looking for is a ginger snap cookie that is not cakey. It's dry. You're looking for definitely dry crumbs. And all I did was whiz this up in a blender. That's it. Now, if you don't like ginger, or if you can't get your hands on these, you can make a chocolate crust using chocolate wafer crumbs, or you can use graham cracker crumbs. All the same, okay? So we're gonna put those into a bowl, and all the measurements, as always, are down below in the box if you click see more. Not see more, but see more. Yes, I make jokes.
I want to go on record as saying that this is the recipe that convinced me that vegan food could actually be really tasty.
It's true.
It's true.
Bit by bit, right?
I was not easily convinced, but this one did it.
Then we've got some sugar here. Now, if you're actually baking for strict vegans, make sure that your sugar is vegan. And yeah, there is a difference because sugar is refined through bone char. Didn't know that, did you?
No.
So vegan sugar is not. So in goes the sugar. Give that a little bit of a stir. Then we have some vanilla extract here. Again, I don't use artificial vanilla. That is the real deal.
That would be wrong.
Well, I don't like the taste of artificial vanilla extract. I'm willing to pay the money to get the real stuff. And this is melted coconut oil. Now, this happens to be the stuff that tastes and smells like coconut, and it's a great complement to the other flavors. So I would go ahead and do that. If you have the stuff that is that's refined and so it doesn't smell like coconut, you could use that. The original recipe had butter in it, so of course you could use butter. You could probably use oil as well of any sort, but it won't taste as good.
And it wouldn't be vegan.
It wouldn't be vegan if you used butter. It would be
Or
if
honey.
you used oil. So we're just gonna, there's no honey in this
Well, I
recipe.
know, instead of sugar, I meant.
Yes, well yes, very true. So we're just gonna put that in there. And then all we're doing is moistening the crumbs by stirring all of that in together. And it's really that simple. That's your crust. And all we're gonna do now is press it into your pie pan. Now my pie pan seems to have gone walkabout somewhere, so we're using one of these handy dandy foil ones that generally I would not be using because they're disposable, although you can wash them and reuse them a couple of times, but hey, that's up to you and
We've had that one since 1972.
No, we haven't. Anyway, so all of the crust goes in there, the crust ingredients. Make sure your hands are clean.
Spoils the fun.
And I'm just gonna pat it in to the rim. You could go up over if you want, that's sort of up to you. I find in this recipe, if you're not careful, it can burn if you have it up in the rim. So I try to keep it in the area where the filling will also be to protect it. Not for the first few minutes, because the first few minutes we're baking it blind with nothing in it.
Smells awesome already.
Well, yeah, ginger cookies and sugar and coconut oil. Can't really go wrong.
What could go wrong?
So what I'm doing here is I'm just trying to make it about the same thickness all over the bottom. So it's not like one side's super thick and the other side's thin. And that's pretty much it. And I'm gonna pop that in the oven that's already been preheated.
To what?
Well, it's 175 Celsius because we have a Euro oven, but I believe that's 350 Fahrenheit. And gas mark. You'll have to look that up. I can't do that conversion for those of you in the UK. So I'm going to pop this in the oven for 10 minutes, but don't go anywhere because we're going to do the filling right away. So I'm just going to put this in the oven. Check that it is 107 here. So 117 is when I want that to come out. Now let's move on to our filling right away. So in this handy dandy blender jar I have, and you can use a food processor, you can use any kind of blender that you might have for this, is a can of pumpkin, and in Canada that's a 398 ml can. And I believe it's 300 grams, but again, check below, of soft tofu, unflavored. Don't get.
Is it silken or soft?
It's soft.
Okay.
This is soft tofu. It's not the silken, and although you might be able to use silken for this, it is unflavored, unsweetened, okay? And we're gonna blend that up together, and we're gonna add sugar and some spices. So here we have salt, cinnamon, powdered ginger, and ground cloves.
There you go.
So I'm just going to take the handy dandy stick blender here and make a lot of noise.
Now, when you first said you were making a filling with tofu, I went, there's no way.
Yeah, I know. You know what I forgot to mention off the top, but I will definitely put it in the comments. You must make this the night before you plan to eat it. It needs to set overnight. You can't rush that process, and if you make it on the same day, it's not going to have the right consistency. It really has to be in the fridge overnight, so I will definitely make sure that's down in the notes. I also should tell you that I made this 1 year with fresh pumpkin. I steamed a pumpkin. You could really use any orange squash, I suppose. I steamed it, took the peel off, and I weighed it out or measured it out so that it would be equivalent to one of, I think it was 2 cups worth, one of those cans. And we couldn't tell the difference. So if you have a fresh one lying around, you can do that as well. It's just a little bit more work to cook the pumpkin, that's all. Okay, so that is, you can see, pretty uniform. That's just up on the sides there, that bit of tofu, but the rest is a paler orange color. See? I'm gonna pop the spices in there. I got a bit going down the side, can't have that. And I'm gonna pop the sugar in there as well. And I'm hoping this is big enough. I might have to, you know what? I don't think I did this well. I thought it would be big enough, but.
Oh, it'll be okay. Live dangerously.
You think?
It'll get absorbed.
Stay. That's not all of it, but maybe if I do a bit at a time, it'll work. Good one, hey? Wow. Okay, don't do what I'm doing. Use a nice big bowl, okay? Because this was not a good idea. But we're going to keep it in anyway, just to show you that, you know.
It's a Julia Child moment.
Yeah.
What's
Pumpkin happens, right?
Just don't
Nobody
see.
needs to know, except you, of course. Ooh, it makes the sugar dance on top. That's kind of cool.
Oh, you're
Okay.
fine. You're fine.
So that is now all incorporated. And what we're going to do, we're just going to wait until the 10 minutes is up. We're going to bring the pie crust out of the oven and let it cool down a bit. And we'll come back when it's cool enough for us to put the filling in and then put it back in the oven. So we'll see you in a few minutes. So we're back, and the crust was in the oven for 10 minutes, and it's been sitting out for about 10 minutes to cool. And all I'm going to do, really difficult stuff, is pour the filling that we made such a mess making in there. Now, I'm thinking that this is a bit smaller than my pie pan that I usually use. So what I've done is I've greased a ramekin with some coconut oil, and if I have leftover, I'm going to put it in there and bake it, and it'll be like a pumpkin pudding. So, or a crustless pumpkin pie. So we're just going to pour that in. Yeah, I don't think I want to go more than that. In fact, we've got more than a ramekin's worth in here. Or no, maybe
Oh.
Just a smidge.
Put some on toast.
Anyway, so what I also did when we took this out to cool was I turned the oven up. It was at 175 Celsius, which I said was 350 Fahrenheit, and I've turned it up to 450 Fahrenheit, which is 230 Celsius. And it's only going to go in there for, I think it's 15 minutes at that temperature, and then we're going to turn it back down to the previous temperature, and it's going to go in for, and it's going to stay in there for another 40 minutes, 40. So we'll do that now, and we'll come back after it comes out of the oven. See you then. And just like that, we're back. So the pie had 15 minutes in the oven at the higher temperature, and then turned down, and 40 minutes in the oven at the lower temperature. And you can see here the edge is a little on the dark side. Could have put a little foil around it, and if I had extended the crust all the way to the edge there, it would have been very dark. So definitely putting some foil around about halfway through would be really, really smart if you've got the crust extended along the sides. You can also see that it ended up making 2 ramekins of pumpkin pudding, let's call it that. And I put them in for the same amount of time, even though it's a much smaller volume, so it's a bit deeper, and I don't care if it's overbaked because I wasn't planning on those, and I'm sure they'll be fabulous as is. You could eat those with a scoop of whipped cream on, or just as is, or yogurt, or you do you. A little granola would be nice. And this we'll probably have after dinner. We'll have slices tomorrow though, because as I said, this needs to go in the fridge. It looks like it's set up, but if I were to cut it now, or even after it cools, just from sitting at room temperature, it's gonna be kind of runny. It needs to go in the fridge overnight. Trust me on this, you don't wanna rush this, and it'll be great tomorrow. So there you have it. How easy was that to make your own pumpkin pie? You don't need to buy a crust. You don't need to buy a filling, or even those cans of pumpkin pie filling. Just get the pumpkin, right? You can do all of this really easily. It's super tasty. If you have vegan friends, or if you're vegan yourself, all the better. But there you go.
It's the best.
It's real food, and I know that you can do it.